Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome. It's Orange Bloods live on the eve before the season finale of Texas football 2025 and on the eve of the portal. And I have no idea what we're going to talk about more than the other leading up in today's show, but I kind of think it's going to be the latter instead of the former. Do us a solid, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, notifications, all those things. We appreciate it. We are well over 200,000 at this point, like enough that if a bunch of you canceled, we'll still be above 200,000. So we cleared that bar, because I feel like whenever we talk about subscriber numbers, some of you cancel your subscriptions on purpose just to be a dick, because you know that I'll say it on the air like, well, because I've done it before. I'll be like 667, 668, 667, 660. Stop doing this. So we're not going to do that. Jump into the Specs chat. Have a good time with us. And by all means, jump into the comments section. There will be lots to comment on. It is the eve, Chad, of Texas and Michigan. And it is the eve of a portal that you and I just had a 1 hour meeting with our Orange Bloods team kind of talking about this. And it is the 5,000 pound monster that's days away that is about to take over the sport. And as much as we want to talk about the playoffs or Texas and Michigan, it's unavoidable that this freaking thing starts on January 2nd.
Yes, we will definitely be hitting portal. But before we do anything else, we need to hit the biggest question. It got asked yesterday. We now have an answer for everybody. Yes, we are doing the watch party for Texas and Michigan. Let's throw up the specials. Y'all know I'm going after a $3 jellyfish, the cocktail, the select drafts, which includes Stella, the wing special. People dig those wings. The more and more they are having them. And we're going to throw Texas and Michigan right up in the middle there at 183 and Anderson Mill. Come on out and see us. I'm looking at the schedule right now. Is there anything else going on at the same time? The Sun Bowl will be going on at the same time. The Nebraska-Utah game, God help us all, will be going on at the same time. And Iowa and Vandy will be finishing off. But also don't forget the Ohio State and Miami game comes up after the Texas game at 6:30. So come on out and see us at TCH Social Austin. Chill out, watch the biggest screen in town, have all that great food. So that is happening. We had people asking yesterday, Catch. It's happening. I will be out there at TCH Social Austin for sure. We'll figure out who else is going to be out there, but Bad Beat Bacon, Texas and Michigan, and a jellyfish is on my list.
I'm going to try to make it just because to me, I don't care what anybody says. I've had a few people on Orange Bloods that tell me I care about this just as much as I care about Texas and OU or Texas and Georgia. And it's like, what I really want to tell those people is like, oh, you're one of them. The Orange Bloods is the 10% most crazy people, but there has to be a 10% of the top 10%. Yeah. And if you're like, I'm just as much into Sam Houston State as I am into Georgia, I'll shake them. It's okay.
Yeah. Hey, that's kind of what, they want to get
here and walk to the stadium like a normal person on that day.
Catch that, Sark gave that vibe in a press conference of I'm an old school guy. I'm about winning games. And I can appreciate that because we were raised in the era where they convinced us all these bowl games mattered when they really didn't. But we all wanted to win. Nobody ever watched their team in a bowl game and thought, you know what I just hope we lose. That never happens.
But what I know about Orange Bloods people watching this show right now, and that are certainly on Orange Bloods, 80-0 either way, almost gets forgotten the next day.
80-0? 80.
That's a bit of an extreme point made for the point of hammering home a larger point. That's not one of those that you literally go 80-0. And I do know that I say that as somebody that's doing a show with somebody who did a 77-0. And so that might sound impossible.
I was going to say, I've lived in some crazy worlds, Catch. We cover a team every day that once ate a 66-3 at home and some 64-13s. Like, stuff can get weird. Do not tell them 80-0 is possible.
Chad, touche. That really wasn't meant to be interpreted literally.
Yes.
I think everybody, I hope when this show's over with, nobody pulls me aside and goes, Catch them. Just so you know, if we ever lost 80-0, I'm breaking somebody's neck. Oh, no, I got it. Yeah. But I really do think it's as low of a stakes game as I can go tomorrow, have some apps, chill out with the crowd, take my notes,
Mhm.
But you know how I am normally during a game? Nobody talk to me. Shut up. Like I'm not
Right.
captain.
That's mainly when Liverpool is playing at the same time. That's when you
No,
really go
I
into
am
the tunnel.
exactly that way when it comes to Texas football.
Yeah.
I do not like to hear people talking behind me. I don't want to hear anybody's opinion about. Now, I can be snarky, but I really don't want to hear anybody else's snark. I'm there to be the entertainer, and I don't want anybody else entertaining me. But it really goes into hyperdrive with Liverpool. But there are Liverpool games that I watch, and I'm like, okay, well, Woo saw it out a little bit in this one. It's not the same as a Champions League final. So, you know, I just think that tomorrow's more. I think I'm looking forward tomorrow for fun reasons, and it doesn't feel like I say that about Texas football a whole lot.
That might just be something you need to work on. You don't have fun watching Texas play football?
No.
Okay.
Not
so
really.
So you're saying while a lot of times it feels more like work, maybe 85%, now you're saying
that's well done.
Do you get to have 85% fun tomorrow?
I think so.
Okay.
Because look, I normally live on a knife's edge, Chad, where it's like, if they lose today, my fucking weekend's over and life sucks and people are going to get mad and cancel their subscriptions. And what time is it? Because if it's an evening game, everybody's already drunk and there's going to be boobs and naughty parts posted on Orange Bloods. And like it just my whole point is if Texas loses 27-24 tomorrow instead of winning 27-24, will there be grumbling? Well, yeah, yes. But I think the attention, my thought of like, what do I do the next day? The next day is the portal. And there's nothing that won't make, let me put it to you like this. Who's in the chat? Tex Blonde.
Mm-hmm.
Tex Blonde says, this is funny because she literally just said, I know you didn't want to hear from me, Catch. And I literally, before I saw that, said her name because I want to hear from her.
Yeah.
I've
now been at a watch party where Tex Blonde is behind, is where Tex Blonde's voice.
Now, I will say Tex Blonde is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
More so than anybody else that typically comes. The thing is, like, I know I've seen Tex Blonde put these people on blast.
Oh, yeah.
Tex Blonde can't go anywhere without creepy guys being creepy. So there is always an element of I'm a people watcher. So it's like, who's going to shoot their shot? Who's going to go over to Catherine and tell her they're not shooting their shot while shooting their shot, right? The old, I know you must get hit on at all of these things, but let me try to charm you without technically hitting on you. Like, I know that happens everywhere she goes. So I'm a little more interested at the people watching on something like that. Tex Blonde. Here we go, okay? I am offering you, and everybody in the chat can participate in the Specs chat.
Here we go.
Because I want to see the rush of answers.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want Tex Blonde's answer first and foremost. You can have Cam Coleman on Thursday. The portal opens, and the very first headline is Cam Coleman commits to play for Texas.
Friday morning.
Yes.
Friday, whatever. Yeah.
Thursday.
Friday.
Fridays. Yeah. Sorry. I got my days mixed up because of New Year's Eve and then New Year's Day. Yes. So Friday morning, you may even wake up and the first thing you see, Cam Coleman to Texas, done. But Texas has to lose 27-24 to Michigan tomorrow. If Texas wins, no Cam Coleman. What do you do? I'm offering you Cam Coleman for all of 2026 at the cost. Sandman, why not both? Because that's not what we're doing here. I'm trying to make a point.
Sandman, this is not me, by the way. I want everybody to know this is not me. I am the silly one. I am Mr. This is not my idea. I was not. He didn't check with me at all.
By the way, look at Chris Bennett trying to get his little, I'm not flirting, but let me flirt with Catherine and Michelle on. Way to go, Chris.
Tell me you're flirting without flirting.
Representing in Washington State in all of the best ways possible.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Sandman. But at the end of the day, hold on. Sandman, tank for Coleman.
Yeah. Sandman took it. He says, I'm cool with that.
Look, Michelle. So, Chad, my only point in asking that question is,
Where do we say?
This is what I'm saying, where if they lose, I'm pretty confident the next day the portal takes over. So it is unusual for me. I've never covered a Texas game where the next day they can so quickly turn their attention to something that's way more season defining for the future than the thing that just happened. So yeah. I'm looking at Wednesday's game so weirdly. I want to watch it. I want to see it for things that are different than necessarily how good is Sark's game plan.
Right. Well, that's what's weird about it, Catch. And that's why, like this week, when I threw out the 2%er post on orangebloods.com, check it out. The thing that hits me is I love these two teams when they play. The first two times meant so much. And then third time is just not going to be a big deal. You know, it's not going to be like this massive game. We're going to learn some stuff. But again, for me, it's about what do you have? You can show us a little bit of what you got, make us think about 2026 a little bit. But then obviously you're right. It is about talent acquisition and what can you get on Friday. So it is going to be a weird game. It's going to be strange. But hopefully Texas is able to get the win, get number 10, learn a little bit about itself, and then get after it on Friday.
Mac Daddy, Chris Bennett.
Boom. Talk to them every day.
I mean, was that a humble? What was that? Was that like a humble flex?
I don't even know. I'm with Paxton. This is the Paxton. I'm with you. Old school. Just want those 10. Something about 10 wins. It's 2 whole digits, Catch. It's 2 whole digits. It is. I know it doesn't really matter, but it is 2 whole digits.
You know, I almost don't want them to get the 10 wins because then somebody will make such a big deal out of 10 wins that it creates that's what Mac did. Mac out of nowhere was like, we've won 10 wins 4 times in a row. He said that when people were furious at him.
Okay, wait a second. Hold on, Catch. We have a weird idea. Jody says, I'd accept a Texas loss if McDonald's would bring back the McRib for 2 more weeks. I'm not burdened with a high bar for integrity or blood circulation. Jody, I don't even know. Okay.
But hey, when they do bring the McRib back next time on a limited basis, Chad, I'm going to think of Jody first and foremost.
I am too. We've done weird radio shows in the past about, what would you give up for your team to win a title? And would you give up part of a finger or would you give up a hand or whatever? I've never heard of the idea of bargaining with McDonald's. If I can I'll let my team lose. Can you have the McRib hang for 14 more days?
Have you, when was the last time you had a McRib?
Oh, geez. I'd say in the last 10 years, I bet I've had 1 or 2. And
I think in the last 10 years, I've had 1.
Yeah, it has not been it was never a huge thing for me, but I will say that over time, I felt like the quality I know that's a weird word, but the quality has dipped a bit. It's not something that rules my world.
No. I was never a big McRib guy.
No.
And then I would say after it went off the menu, but then came back as a specialty item, I once was like, I got to try the McRib.
Yeah.
It's been in my life for a long time. I've seen the commercials. So I ordered a McRib, took like 2 bites out of the McRib.
Oh yeah. You and the McRib probably didn't get along.
And then I was like, every time the McRib comes back out and I ask myself, I want to fuck around with that at all. I'm mindful of, I can't remember when it happened, but I remember the last time I did the McRib, I gave it a shot and quit. And
I guarantee you, knowing what I know of you, if I had seen you across the room about to take your first bite of a McRib, I would have just leaned over to somebody and said, I don't know what's about to happen, but he ain't taking that last bite. I guarantee you. There's no way.
I would just spit it out.
He ain't going to finish that thing. There's no way. And I'd have walked out. Oh, that's fantastic. And by the way, just real quick, for South KMX, the key is how they get that meat. The acquisite, you ever tried to get meat off a raccoon's ankles? It's tough. And the way they do it is the beauty of it. So leave them alone. All right. Did we pin this is the thing I pinned earlier real quick. Michelle saying, I know Chad hated watching Aggie games with me because I kept calling Marcel chicken legs. Sorry, Chad. That did happen. Michelle is a very vocal fan. Catch, if we can get Tex Blonde and Michelle and ATX Bates and Barb's 10 and the normal crew and if Money B shows up and our two guys back behind us that I still have not memorized their names. I'm sorry, fellas. Like, if we get that whole group, it's going to be a lively afternoon tomorrow.
So you had to endure that game, which there are ways to lose, and then there are ways that A&M lost that game at home to Miami. But you had to do it with Michelle.
No. Not that game. Not that game. The Texas A&M game.
Oh.
This isn't the playoff game. This was the game in Austin.
Well, regardless.
Yeah.
You had to live through that indignity.
Michelle.
And she was yelling out Marcel Chicken Leg within earshot.
She called Marcel Chicken Legs within 5 minutes of the game starting, I think, then accused him of jaking an injury when he got hurt, then accused every Aggie of jaking an injury if they went down. So, Michelle, I will tell you, though, after the game was all done and I was about to do the post-game show, a different fan walked up to me and gave me credit for not reacting to everything you said. So you kind of made me look like the good guy somehow. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So can I tell you about a conversation that I once had?
Sure.
I once worked with a guy named Jake, and I just pretty much said the same sentence that you did. And he goes, "What do you mean by jaking it?"
Oh.
What would you say?
Say, well, that's the phrase. That's the word.
Who says this? Because when a Jake asks you to explain where jaking comes from as like a verb,
that's
it
tough.
Gets to the point where it's like, no, people don't say that around me. Who do you know that says it? And you just go, people?
Certain people say that. Sorry, Jake.
No, the Jakes out there, there is a sensitivity
to the verb,
jaking it as a verb.
They don't like the verb. I can understand that. If something came up, like I got sensitive around that 2000 election when everybody came up to me talking about hanging Chads and Chads messing it up, and I'm like, I didn't even know that's what they were called. I have no idea. What are y'all talking about?
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. And now we're getting a discussion about Marcel Reed's legs in the chat. So that's bizarre. If y'all want to throw in a super chat, feel free to do it. I think we may have a little buy or sell a little later on. We'll see.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
For those that don't know, this is the first time Chad and I have talked today.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It just was one of those days where we didn't even have a show description up until 10 minutes before the show. And we had a meeting. And so it's not like we haven't been working, but we've just been doing other things. How much did you pay attention to the Sark's press conference earlier?
As it happened, not much, because I was dealing with some stuff in the house, but then I got to see the breakdown that Anwar threw out, and then I was interested in what was said.
So let's pay a bill.
Okay.
And on the other side of the bill, I 1000% agree with you. I think there was some really notable and critical, like little things to potentially pick apart based on what he said.
No doubt. Absolutely. All right. Before that, let's see if we can get you hungry. We were talking about all the good stuff at TCH Social Austin. Obviously, go check them out when you get a chance. Also, go check out Hayes City Store. Let's throw up a pork chop and a sundae. It's a kind of an interesting combo. It's a combo that I have been a part of. And my child was a big part of that, too. You can kind of see with one of her arms there getting ready to tear into that sundae out at Hayes City Store. It's out there in Driftwood. We talked about them plenty. These are Longhorn folks through and through. Travis and Tamara, they were both a part of big-time restaurants in the area, and they decided, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get this location, and we are going to make some of the best food out there when it comes to pork chops and burgers and this beautiful sundae, and we're going to have great drinks. We're going to have an awesome environment, and it's just grown and grown and grown, and everybody loves it. Head on out to Driftwood if you haven't been, or if you just haven't been in a while. Tell them we sent you. Don't ever be in a hurry, but get to Hayes City Store as fast as you can and get to eating. Tell them that you heard about it here on Orange Bloods Live. You will enjoy it at Hayes City Store. They also have a few screens up if you want to watch some different games while you're out there. All right, Catch. So yeah, the Sark presser. Is this the last time he speaks right before the game? This will be the last time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because the game's tomorrow.
Yeah. So, do you want me to tell you what jumped out to me, or do you want to tell me what?
No, I want to hear from you. What jumped out?
the discussion about, and credit to Anwar for throwing out a question about sort of how you deal with the game, but also how do you deal with 105 scholarships? The game part, I expected. I want 10 wins. I'm an old school coach. But when he was talking about the scholarship thing, and he was also asked about portal and how things are going, there's a couple things that really jumped out, but I'm going to go right to the end of the conversation that Anwar threw out there. He mentioned a little bit of interesting truth here when he mentions that some kids are represented by people that may or may not be like real agents. There's no process for making a real agent. It could be like an Uncle Nate situation with Johnny Manziel, right? That person doesn't necessarily have to be like an agent. Could be Master P with Ricky, right? But at least in that case, Master P had to go through some process to become an agent. You don't have to do that in college. But the last thing he says, Catch, is, hey, coming up in the next day or so, I'm going to be on the phone with a kid.
No, he said later today.
Later today. You're right. Later today, I'm going to be on the phone with an agent, and it says, here's our number. And I might say, hey, we just can't do that. Good luck. And hang up. And all I could think of was, Sark, are you the person that should be on that phone call? If it truly happens later today, are you the one that should be on that call? Or should it be more of a money person that's on that phone call? That was one of the first things that jumped out to me.
Well, I mean, he is the offensive coordinator. I mean, is that what you want your offensive coordinator doing the day before a bowl game?
No, it's not.
Again, we're in a different era in college football, and we're probably never going to stop having these conversations until 25 years from now. All of these things have truly been rectified. The last of the dinosaurs will be gone.
Yeah.
It's hard to think of Sark as a dinosaur, but one day he will be.
Yeah. And it's probably because of how long I've worked with you and how long we've known each other and how long we've been having these conversations. I'm like, oh my God, I'm channeling my inner Catch here. I think this is what Catch will hear and how he might think about it. Am I right? Did that jump out to you as well?
No.
Okay.
I mean, not at all. I thought there was a lot of really interesting things. We recorded a Prize Pick show, or no, I did a show immediately afterwards with Anwar. God, so much has already happened today that I forgot that happened. And so I was like, Anwar, I read what you reported, but you were in the room. What did it sound like? And Anwar and I had two different takes on one thing, because Anwar thought he heard Sark setting the table potentially for a letdown of a portal window, that we can only do what we can do. And we can't, there needs to be control, and somehow there's not control. Like I thought the big national talking point that if Nick Saban had said there's a salary cap, but nobody's paying any attention to it, that's being talked about on First Take. It came from Sark, and we'll see it. The end of the day is not here yet, and maybe that thing ends up becoming more of a story than I thought. But if Kirby says that, I think that's a big story for a coach of that caliber to basically say the sport is out of control. Two days before the portal opens up, I think it's a meaningful quote. Why would Sark have had the motivation to get that off of his chest? I'm not sure. And I think Anwar thought he wanted to get out there, that maybe they're not going to have as much success in the portal as everybody thinks they will. So that was his way of saying not everybody's playing fair. He also thought maybe Texas had a disadvantage from a money standpoint. And I know why he would have said that, because for the last few years, there's been constant reporting of Texas does not have enough money to get all of the things that they want accomplished in the portal accomplished. And yet I was communicating with a source today that has told me those exact same things in previous years. And I was told, nah, man, we're flush. So I'm actually getting the impression that Texas is hot to trot, baby. Maybe there's not quite 100 Cam Colemans in this portal. So maybe the scarcity is more of a thing than maybe we realize. And two, and I think this is the most important thing that I think everybody needs to be prepared for 2 days beforehand. I think they would be completely prepared to pay a guy like Cam Coleman $2 million. If they look at Cam Coleman and say, that's a $2 million player on our roster. What does that mean? Well, that means if we pay this guy $2 million, Colin Simmons won't see that and be offended, right? If I pay this guy $2 million, Ryan Wingo is not going to look at that and go, why did that just happen and I didn't get mine? There's not a lot of guys that are in this upper echelon, but if you're going to go get a $2 million player, he better be a $2 million. He better really be a $2 million player. Now, if that $2 million player has a $3 million offer, and this is where it comes, it dovetails into where Sark very specifically made the quote that he made was, I'm going to talk to an agent today. And that agent is probably going to give me a big number. And I'm going to tell that agent, good luck getting that number. If you don't get that number, call us back. That's incredibly revealing. What it is saying, and look, whether or not they live up to this or not remains to be seen. The business hasn't started yet officially. But what they're saying is, if we evaluate a guy at $2 million, and that's how good we think he is, we're not spending 2.5. Somebody else might spend 2.5. Right. And if you can get that, take it. If it's something less than that, you know where we stand. How many of these recruitments that are going to define whether or not Texas has the kind of successful portal that everybody feels like they need to have? How many of the recruitments that are getting ready to truly take shape are going to be with players that A, are good enough that Texas would really, really want them, and B, is this an auction guy, or is this I'm okay with exactly what Texas is offering guy? Because my sources are indicating to me that Texas is not trying to break the wage scale. They're not trying to, if they won't, I'm being told they won't want somebody so much that if they think he's a $2 million guy and someone else is offering $3 million, or this guy wants $3 million to close the deal, I'm being told Texas ain't paying that $3 million.
They're going to say good luck.
They're going to say, we're not doing that all out of principle.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I've been communicating with my source, and I totally get what he's saying.
And that's on, just to check, Catch, that's on anybody and everybody, right? They're not saying they do that once or twice and then stop. They're saying not even once. Not even for that tip-top guy like a Cam Coleman.
Well, I don't know. I don't think any of us know. It's what made Sark's comment so interesting, because his comment is at the spirit of this, and we're having a nebulous conversation. We're not saying if Kawan Lacey says he'll come to Texas for 2.7 and your offer is 2, are you really going to let Kawan Lacey walk for $700,000? Really? You're really not going to replace your missing piece with an off? You know what I mean? There's a push come to shove moment that we can't know what it looks like once they're there. What I can tell you is there's an instinct today, 48 hours beforehand, to say we won't budge off of our evaluations. Now, one thing that we do know about Texas, though, is that when they are, there are certain guys that they have gone after that when Texas decides they want a guy, they'll just whip the wallet on the table and they don't care who sees it. Think about Justice Terry. Think about Derek Cooper. In the instance with Cooper, Texas came in with Cooper having not even been really on his radar a week before he put them in his top 5. That was based off of an interview that he literally did with Jason Sucamel of OrangeBloods.com. So he's talking to a Texas reporter, had a chance to throw Texas in there just to make the Texas reporter happy and give him something to report on. Nope. I don't even think they were in his top 6 or top 7, and yet he signed with Texas. Well, what happened? They put an offer on the table that was so big that in the 6 months that followed, everybody in college football knew if you want to get Derek Cooper, all you got to do is beat this Texas number, and they never did. It gives an indication that Texas is willing to set the market value on a player that they deem different than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't know is whether or not there's a player in this entire class, and that includes a guy like Cam Coleman, that they would look at and go, that's a guy we'll go get for anything. And I think I can ask that question and not be given an answer. This is where I think some cards are being held close to the vest. I think maybe they're poo-pooing it a little bit just in case. But if they really wanted to poo-poo it, they could say, oh, we don't have the money. And that's not what I'm hearing. When I hear we're flush with money, it makes me think if when this is over with, if they haven't done enough, then maybe they didn't try hard enough. Because it's not about money. So you could have gone and done anything. You could have gone and outbid anybody. Your money wasn't an issue. These are about principles. And I'm really fascinated by over the course of the next 48 hours, do those principles budge at all? Because if the difference between getting Cam Coleman and not getting Cam Coleman is $250,000, do you budge? There are people in this world that would never budge. Do you know who would budge on that, Chad? I'm the guy, if I really like on eBay, that I know something might cost $100, but I'll put $1,000 bid in there. Like wherever it stands is wherever it stands. I got to have it.
Right.
I'm the guy that if something costs $100, I'll pay $500 for it. But I want it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to negotiate.
Right. Does Texas feel that way about any player? We want
anybody.
No matter what. Yeah,
anybody.
No matter what. Lacey at running back or Cam or Ball or whoever it is. Like, no. He's going to wear our colors no matter what.
I think last year, Ryan Williams, the wide receiver out of Alabama, could have been that guy. If he goes into the portal last year off of the freshman season that he had, knowing the thirsting that they did over him as a prospect, I think they would have. I don't know if he's a by any means necessary kind of guy now. I literally have not been told that one of those is definitely going to exist. But I do think there will be players that Texas is very, very interested on that are going to get involved in bidding wars. And Texas, I think, is indicating that they don't really want to get into a bidding war. Texas really does like to do I'm going to offer you something one time. And it's going to probably be the biggest. You know what Texas hates? Let's say you're a guy that's getting $500,000 offers and nobody's gone higher than $500,000. Texas likes to make an offer and say, we'll give you $750,000, but that's it. It's done.
And don't ask again. Right.
What they would frown upon and quit a guy on is if they made the move, they made the offer, they had a handshake agreement of sorts. And I know we've got some super chats, so I'll shut up. If they then came back and go, hey, Miami just offered us $775. Can you do $8? Because they would know that $775 would never have happened had they not offered $750. And we offered that $750 telling you it doesn't go higher than this. This is what we're offering. And it's what they did with Derek Cooper. And they basically told everybody in college football, if you want Derek Cooper, go beat this number. And it was higher than anything anybody else in college football wanted to pay, which I think is really fascinating because if Derek Cooper hits, I think he goes down as a verb of sorts for by any means necessary, go out and get a guy you think is going to be a superstar. Go Derek Cooper, the guy. If Derek Cooper ends up being CJ Baxter and you paid more for that guy than anybody else in the country was willing to offer, and then he doesn't hit, then he becomes a CJ Baxter of sorts, where it's like, because everybody will know the context of that was the guy that they wanted more than anybody else, and they paid a premium on that. And I think we live in a world now where in this sport, everybody will know where the premiums have been paid. And it's really hard to watch the sport through the prism of, damn, they paid that guy $1 million and he's caught 8 passes this year.
Yeah. Jody, I see that $15 super chat. We are going to start with that. Let me thank a couple of our great partners first. One is Sinus and Snoring Specialist. You all know I love them. You've heard me talk about them. That's because they help me sleep better. If you got snoring, sleep apnea, allergy issues, sinus infections that drive you crazy, get it taken care of in 2026. Make it a little resolution present to yourself. Get on in there. It's a great central location, by the way, if you know the Austin area. They're right there in the Parmer and Mopac area. They do great work. They've been doing it over 20 years. They added a doctor this past year to get you even more appointment opportunities in the morning and afternoon. They'll take care of you just like they did for me. 601-0303 or go to sinussnoringent.com. Feel clear, rested, and healthy with Sinus and Snoring Specialists. We hope everybody has great New Year's plans for 2026. And before we get this super chat, let's remind you to get stocked up at Specs. They bring you the chats each and every day. Here is some clever rhyming to remind you about New Year's.
The new year is coming when bubbles take flight. Make Specs your first stop on the old year's last night. Stock up on champagne without spending a ton. Just shop at your Specs and bring on the fun. But it's more than just bubbly that's priced so low. Craft beer, fine spirits, and wine from Bordeaux. So fill up your glasses and raise up a cheer. Start your countdown at Specs, 'cause the fun starts here.
I dig this question from Jody here. $15. Why is Texas suddenly flush? Was there just a lag in the culture change required by NIL? Or has Cody Campbell become the Sherwood Blunt of yesteryear, SMU, and Texas now knows it has to respond? Good question.
I think the best answer is not, I won't certifiably guarantee that this is the answer. It's what I think is the answer. I think the injection of 15 plus million from the revenue share puts Texas in a much more comfortable position, right? So if last year's roster was between 35 and $40 million, but all of that was paid through NIL and there was no lifting at all by the football program with regards to a dollar allocation and where the help comes from. They live in a world now where if they spent 40 a year ago and more than 25 a year before that, there's now an injection of that revenue share money that means they're not asking for more money than they've already been putting out. So, I think they're at levels where if they had to ask and stretch beyond, I think they would have a difficult time doing so. But I think that additional 15 million is a true game changer, along with the fact that this time last year, Texas didn't have as many of the corporate deals that they now have. One of the things that they feel like in a world that's moderated by real teeth, that Delot's just not, because it just sounds like right now, everything's still, we've not heard a story yet of anything being stopped because Delot's audit system stopped something. In fact, I kind of feel like that's what Sarkisian wants to scream to the rafters is this is supposed to work like this and it's not. Somebody care. I think that I think they have enough. And I think they feel like because that additional weight of support came in, that there's nothing that they don't have the backing for right now. If it were to get crazy and go, I don't know, above 50, $60 million, of which point, revenue share is only a quarter of that, then I think that would create some real stress. So that's probably just about exactly the amount of revenue money of support that comes in. If it ever gets 15 to 20 million more than they anticipate, short-term and long-term, I think Texas the message might not quite be we're flush, but I can understand what's different about this year versus last year? Well, this year there's $15+ million that they're not having to ask donors. We can't get this guy if you don't do this right here, right now.
Right.
I think in the spring they're going to be like, guys, hey, we need help. We do need to get some corporate sponsorships and get these guys some, like, we need to be creative. But I do think they feel like with the revenue share money, they're good. And my sourcing has gone out of their way, unsolicited, to say it ain't about the money. In fact, look, I'll read you. Sometimes it's like, I don't want to read a quote because then someone else might have got that quote. He might have used that to somebody else. And then someone will go, I know who Catch's source is because that person texted me the exact same thing. I'll paraphrase. Okay.
Okay.
I want to
protect your stuff there.
I was talking to a source and I did use this earlier. This is inside of a paragraph, but I'll read you the first line in the paragraph. Okay. It starts with, quote, "This is the most flush we've been in a while." And ...
Yeah. Okay.
To me, I didn't ask about that at all.
Yeah.
I did not say, hey, man, are you guys rich or poor right now?
Mm-hmm.
That's not how this came about. This is kind of unsolicited. We were talking about, quite frankly, the context of this was we were talking about the notion of spending $2 million for a guy that you have evaluated for $1 million. So this is on the back end of being told, we're not going to do this if this happens. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the comment is, we've actually got money. It's not about $2 million is the cost and we only have $1 million and we can't afford to. The point was really about, we have the money, but what our principles tell us is that if we think something's $1 million, we're not going to spend $2. If we think something's $500,000, we're not going to spend $1 million. If we think something's $250,000, we're not going to spend $500,000. It's it's not very flexible. Now, can they remain that firm in practicality, or do they risk losing everything that they truly covet? That is the thing in the next 48 to 72 to 96 hours and beyond that we're going to find out. It feels like a real unofficial line in the sand kind of a moment. And I think, look, we'll find out if Texas is in for Cam Coleman. And it's like Texas and Texas A&M are the two favorites for Cam Coleman. And Coleman wants $2.5 million. And Texas has only offered $2 million. If Cam Coleman ends up signing with Texas, well, no. Texas budged off the thing. And you know what? I don't know that anybody will be mad about it. Isn't this what we do as pro sports fans? We want a fiscally responsible team.
Mm-hmm.
Don't we hate it? It's like, why didn't you guys sign Reggie White?
Yeah, until you lose in free agency, then you don't want that.
It's like, well, he ended up signing for $60 million over 5 years. And we only offered 52 over 5, and we weren't going to go up to 60. And you're like, wait a minute.
Right. 8 on the whole deal. That's what you.
We didn't get Reggie White because of $8 million. You could have crowdsourced that. Like, we would have. There are Cowboy fans that would donate $8 million.
Right.
So we will know how these things go down, I think. And so I have no hot take on this other than I've got my popcorn ready. I'm fascinated by what happens because whatever does happen, it's not because Texas is poor. And I will tell you right now, if after this is over with, any of my sources are like, well, we didn't have the money to go be brash. I'm going to say it's not what I heard. I was told differently, actually. And I wouldn't even bring this up if, look, I think this person told me this because he wanted me to know. I didn't solicit it. I didn't say, hey, keep it real with me. Are you trying to shop at Dollar Tree? That's not what I said. There was no, okay, source, Dollar Tree, Target, Neiman Marcus. Where are y'all shopping? It wasn't even like that. It wasn't. Right. And he told me, like, look, we're flush. Now, the other thing that was really interesting is following that, there's like another paragraph that comes in that is really, and I told this thing, it is like going into a store when you are flush with cash. You're doing your Christmas shopping. I got $500 in my pocket and I'm ready to get Christmas over with. I went into a few stores like this in Tomball where I was like, oh, I'm going to find something for my wife here. Or I'm going to find something really cute for my daughter here. This is a cute little, they would love this store. And then I went in there and I was ready to spend money. And the owner of the store came over and gave me great service. And I walked around that entire store and I was like, I don't think there's anything here I want to buy. That was a little bit of the warning I got today. And it feels ominous.
I was going to say,
because we know they need offensive linemen. We know that there are some real needs on this team. And
that doesn't need to be the feeling on January 16th. No Texas fan wants that on January 16th. Like, yeah, Sark just didn't see anything he wanted.
I also think like Texas, I still expect Texas to swing a big stick in this portal.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of this where it's like Sark's talking about, I think Texas unofficially off the record, their opinion is, well, if this is how Ohio State's going to do it, then we'll live in the gray area too, but we won't go completely dark. But gray area, sure. But I think on the record, there's still very much a, hey, there's a salary cap and everybody's supposed to be abiding by it, but nobody does. Like there's a little bit of like Eddie Haskell going on.
See, the last person I heard say that, Catch, and I thought to myself, are you serious? Was Sam Pittman. He said that at SEC Media Days, and I thought, now you don't really believe that, do you? You don't actually believe there's a salary cap between you, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State. You really don't believe that, do you, Coach? Because if you, I remember thinking it, if you do, you're not going to be the coach at Arkansas for very long. And here we are. Like, that's silly. No one should ever use that number. I mean, those words, salary cap.
I do think Texas.
Come on.
And look, I respect the game and the hustle on this. Because I think a lot of us, I think you and I, we look at the portal and I've been wrong about this. I did think last year's spring portal was going to be great, and it wasn't. So I've been wrong.
I know, me too.
But I think we look at what's about to happen and we go, this is about to be pure, unmitigated chaos. Like, that's about what is about to happen. And I think on the eve of this, that my Texas people are a little bit of like Kevin Bacon in Animal House. They're a little bit all is well, remain calm.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to convince themselves that there's not going to be an army of people that steamroll them.
Right.
Because that's probably how you would want to feel a couple of days before this thing's opened. It is the quiet before the storm, right? Like we're here now and all that hard work. Now we just have to see if it works. So I would imagine like there are things that you have to do that when you put your head on a pillow at night, you don't stay up all night. But I mean, I think one of the things I'm constantly told is, hey, we feel really good about what's happening, but if some of these agents do some crazy agent stuff, like we can't control that.
Right.
That is always the attachment, the qualifier for every comment that's ever made is this is what we think. Mm-hmm. But if this guy goes YOLO, I mean, how do we know what happens from there? And it's a fair thing, but it does frame every conversation that we have.
The other weird ingredient, Catch, is you're going to come off of this set of football games where you could have Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, and Bama all winning and moving on and still having football to deal with, or replace Oregon with Tech, another team that wants to spend, right? That can spend. So can Texas take advantage of that? Can a team like Notre Dame take advantage of that? They're not in the bowl at all. They're just ready to attack this portal. So that's another reason why Texas needs to be ready to attack. You got big dogs in the playoff like you were last year when you know how distracted you were. And right after these quarterfinals, you're talking one day. Like for Sark, it's 2 days after his game. But Kirby Smart coaches a game Thursday night, and then Friday morning is the portal. So he's going to get up, he hopes, with a semifinal game to deal with, probably against Ohio State, and he's got to deal with the portal. And that Sark's got to take advantage of all of that as well.
Yeah. I'm super. So you want to hear a crazy number?
Sure.
What do you think? What do you think the quarterback from TCU, Josh Hoover, is going to go for?
Oh, God. The quarterback from TCU.
This is a really important note because one day there may be a world where Texas needs to get a quarterback through the portal. And they did with Quinn.
If you're telling me Cam is thought of as a $2 million, I'm going to say 3.5.
I don't know one of the kids' names that he said. It has to be another quarterback. So
okay.
It's this guy and Hoover is what he says.
Yeah.
He says apparently are at 4 to 5 million.
Oh my God.
And then
really?
Before that, he said there's kids that will go for 5 million.
Wow. Kids in the quarterback group is what he's saying, right?
Well,
or what you're thinking, maybe.
I guess
it could be anyone.
Specifically, what I said was I asked him who is a $2 million player. And I said, will there even be a 2 million? I'm asking questions, right? You know me, I'm a question asker. And then he responded by saying there will be kids that go for 5 million. This kid and Hoover apparently are at 4 to 5 million.
Wow. Yeah, and I'm with I think I would agree with Paxton. Paxton on some level, that's ridiculous, but man, good for Hoover. If you can get it, right? If you can, you are what you can negotiate. 4 to 5. Levitt wants 4 to 5 from Arizona State, says Cody Carpentier. What's up, Cody?
So again, like I will tell you, I think, I hate for this to be 54 minutes into the show. If you hung around this long, this is a really cool note. I do think Texas has some done deals. Like I think, and I don't think and I think it's with guys whose names, I think unofficially there are some. Do I have your word? Yes. My word is strong as oak. Like I think a couple of those have almost certainly happened.
Right.
So I do think when announced, I do think Texas has some business taken care of.
Right. Somebody in the chat earlier wanted to know if any of those, agreements might have rhymed with, Bowman or Shaw. Do you have any?
Nothing is. It's weird, right? You know how I do this, Chad? I really a lot of times I will stop and I'll say I'm reverse engineering a situation. But in this instance, it's okay. This is what I've been told. What haven't I not been told? Right. So it's a lot of times it's not what did Sark say, it's what didn't Sark say. So I've not heard a single complaint about the offensive line. I'm not hearing that any offensive line are lined up and ready to go. But I most importantly have not had a single person say, we can't find anybody who's going to help us on the offensive line. I feel like if that were a problem, that my sources would be
a little concerned.
These streets out here are dry on offensive line. Because you know what? I've had sources go, you know what? Finding edge guys is really hard because edge guys know they don't have to go to a big-time college to be drafted high. So they can get paid at their original school. And because of their positions, they don't have to be at Georgia for NFL guys to go and look at them just the same way. And consequently, we've seen defensive tackles move. We haven't always seen a lot of edge guys. And I remember this is a comment that's made for a couple of years ago. So I've had random comments be made of like, we better never need anything here because you can't get those guys. And I've always been kind of told that, and that may be why the kid that's transferring from Florida is going to be so desired. Because the Woods kid is one of these. Remember the kid that transferred from Georgia, Damon Wilson? And they're suing him now?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a unicorn. There's like every year there's a unicorn where it's like, wait, there's a 5-star defensive end that's in the portal? Every year there's a wild card unicorn type guy, but I haven't heard that about the offensive line. In fact, it's been no commentary whatsoever on the offensive line, which leads me to believe ain't nobody trying to jinx anything. They're probably comfortable with where they stand. And if I had to bet right now, today, 48 hours or so before this thing opens, I wouldn't be shocked if we see offensive linemen among the first things that Texas has announced. Because
yeah, that would be, I think that's the best version of it too, because they need so much of it. That'd be a great sign for Texas fans if they already had some stuff ready to roll.
I've had running backs mentioned, wide receivers mentioned, defensive tackles mentioned, defensive ends mentioned, linebackers mentioned. Like I've had, and some of them, it comes in the form of this isn't going to work out, but this guy was playing the old Barry and Brown, right? This didn't happen with this guy, but there was some thought that it might happen with this guy. There's a little bit of that already that's starting to take place. Keep an eye on the teams in the bowl games.
Yeah.
That is Chad, you flirted with that.
The teams in the playoff, you mean?
Yeah. What did I say? The bowl
You
games.
said bowl games. I just want to make sure
Keep
you're
an eye on the playoff teams.
right.
And
And
I was asked yesterday, buy or sell, if 4 was the number of portal guys that Texas adds from playoff teams, would I go above that or below that? I went below it by 1.
right.
Where's Will Muschamp coming from? Like this, there ain't no friends in this. If some kids from Georgia that he like, I just expect a Georgia guy or two to end up at Texas. That if an unhappy Georgia kid goes into the portal, that's the same thing as when Sark took over from Alabama and Agiye Hall goes into the portal. And it's like, well, we'll take some of that. And it's like, well, why are you going to get that guy? He's a little out there. He's going to cause a ruckus. It's like, oh, well, we know what kind of ruckus it is. We recruited him. So I think there's a real appetite to make sure that Will Muschamp has everything that he needs. It would be quite embarrassing if at the end of this season, the Texas defense under Will Muschamp doesn't play well. And the reason at the end of the season is, well, we didn't have the right players for Will Muschamp. That will not fly. Everyone will know they were flush with cash. Go buy some guys. Texas Tech did it. I can't wait to see how this unfolds because this is really the first year of the new beginning of the rest of our lives. This is about what it's going to look like every year. Yeah. We've been predicting that this is where it was headed, but now we're here.
In addition to the playoff teams catch, if it matters, remember there are also a couple of bowl games on Friday, the 2nd, the day the portal opens. Teams like Texas State, Mississippi State, SMU, Arizona, Cincinnati, they're all involved in games, not top level, but there's going to be a little extra time for them, for everybody to realize they'll get into the portal, but it's going to be like right after those bowl games. That next day, that the 3rd, you might start to see some extra guys jumping in from those teams.
By the way, I don't expect Kawan Lacey to end up at Texas. Just full transparency. Okay. He's just an obvious name on a playoff team. And I've been told that Lacey's not Texas's first choice at running back.
I got you. Okay.
I'll be honest. That's kind of jaw-dropping to me because I think Lacey's really good.
I do too. He'd be my number 1 guy.
If I told you that Kawan Lacey was the starting tailback for Texas A&M next year, you tripping at all? Like, you're good?
Oh, I'm tripping, but it's a really good trip.
It's a really good trip. So
that'd be a great trip.
For them to think that there are, I think, multiple options that they prefer over Kawan Lacey, that could exist as potential reasons, could be numerous. It could be as simple as, well, he didn't want to come here, so that's one of the reasons why he's not ranked ahead of the other guys. But to even have other guys mentioned in Kawan Lacey's breath, I think is really interesting. I think Ball is one of those guys. Look, whatever you think about Ball as a running back coming from Florida, I get the sense personally that internally at Texas, they think Ball is better than Kawan Lacey. Now, Kawan Lacey was a 2nd-team AP All-American this year, if I'm not mistaken. So the bar to get to where he was pretty high. So pretty heady stuff. If Texas gets ball, the thing that I'm going to think more than anything else inside my head is going to be interesting to see how this one plays out, because they thought he was better than Lacey.
Yeah.
And I think there's some thought that, if they wanted Kawan Lacey, they could go get Kawan Lacey. But I'd get the sense that that's not what's happening here. I think the running back thing has been decided. I don't know what the running back thing is, but I think the running back thing has been decided, so much so that there's some lack of fear of talk. I had somebody tell me Kawan Lacey isn't the top couple of options at running back. Well, you know where that has not happened? Offensive line. I would love it if one of my sources would go, this kid from Nebraska is our third choice at left guard. I would love to know that.
Yeah.
I do not know that.
Gotcha. Hey, Paul, I see you. We're coming for you with super chats here in just a second. Let me throw some drinks up first. Remember the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room? They're open Wednesdays through Sundays. Obviously, the holidays will affect that a little bit. Potentially get on out there, have some of that great barbecue at the Crimson Creek Smokehouse food truck right there. Ketch and I've been out there a couple times this past season. Loved it. The barbecue is great. The drinks are excellent. And remember to bring those mason jars and or your martini glasses back if you want those discounted refills. And be sure to tell them you'd like for espresso to be flavor 10. That's what I've been telling them ever since I had it. But get on out there, try some of the great cocktails. Tell them you heard about it on Orange Bloods Live. We appreciate their support, and we do appreciate Paul for throwing in $9.99. Some buy or sells here. Buy or sell, Sark's comments could be seen as laying the groundwork for his jump to the NFL after the 2026 season. I'd sell that.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that. 2, Congress will be very interested in Sark's comments. No, I didn't hear that way. So 3, prime on prime, Heidi Klum, hotter than Kathy Ireland.
Buy.
You're buying?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to sell and go. I'm going to buy American there. I'm going to sell.
I think Kathy is prettier.
I'm going to go American.
You know what I mean? The thing about Kathy were those eyes.
Yep.
She's incredibly sexy, but it wasn't her hotness that would make you go, if I said who's hotter, Kathy Ireland or Elle McPherson in their prime of primes, I feel like that's Elle, because there's the component that made Kathy Ireland special was slightly different than Elle McPherson or some of the others.
Yeah, if you changed Heidi to Elle McPherson, I'd go Elle, but this one I'm going Kathy. I'll go Kathy Ireland.
But it's 10 versus 10. It's when I try to rank 5 stars and it's I think this guy's better than Colin Simmons. And it's that doesn't mean that I don't think Colin Simmons is awesome.
It is a true man's game. All right, let's power through these here. ATX Bates $4.99. Another take on Sark's comments. Wonder if he's brushing agents who want their guys to go to Texas back by saying, guys, Texas has only so much money.
All of this is possible. I think one of the things about the conversation is Sark in these comments, coupled with some other comments from sources combined together, frame a discussion that doesn't have answers. But we're asking all the right questions. I think ATX Bates, you might not be right, but it's exactly the kind of thing that, while we're doing this exercise of piecing together this puzzle that's about to unfold in a couple of days, I think you consider all possibilities. I cannot completely discount that.
Yeah, I agree. It's an interesting comment there. Bates, thank you as always. Look forward to seeing you maybe out there at TCH Social tomorrow for the game. $5 from Longhorn Football Edits. Will we see how all in Sark is for 2026? If Texas doesn't break the bank in Arches last year, they never will. I hope we go all out. No excuses. Catch, I think there's tons of fans.
Hold on, you read that wrong.
That think this way.
You read that wrong, and it's an important misstep. You accidentally, and you can go back and listen to the tape. This is what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you say, will we see? I heard you flip the 2 words. And what he really said was not a question. It was, we will see how. So it's the difference between asking a question and making a statement.
Right.
So you read it like he was asking a question. Will we see how Sark is all in. What he was really saying is we will see how all in Sark is in 2026. If they don't break the bank, they never will. Slight alteration, but I thought it was important.
Yes, and thank you for that. Again, this I think is a comment that thousands of Texas fans have in their brain right now. I think there's so many fans that would agree with this comment. They want to see something. They need it to feel a certain way. And I'm glad Edits put Arch's name in there because Ketch, that's it. It is your last moment with that guy as your quarterback. It's going to be, like you've said, etched on your coaching tombstone for all time. Do you really want it to feel like, we were good? We were good. How many portal guys you get? 3, 4. We're good.
I just think the thing that I don't know, and we got to wrap this bad boy up because I'm looking at the clock and I need to go say hello to my kids. They haven't seen me in hours. Kids, I'll handle lunch in a little bit. It's the first form of communication at 11:08 this afternoon that I've had with my kids today. Bad dad, but good boss. I don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree with half of that.
I think that, oh hell, I lost my train of thought.
We have one more. Let's clean this one more off here. $4.99. Like Derek Cooper offered Texas. Derek Cooper offered Texas.
That's what I'm saying.
That
with both of those guys, like Texas, when Texas wants a guy, that's one of the things I want to keep an eye on. Who, if anybody, that's the $1 million question, literally, Juan. Is there anybody that's going to be in the portal? Because the answer is we know yes in high school football recruiting. Texas will find a guy and go, nobody outbids us on that guy. We set the market. Mm-hmm. But what they don't do is budge off of the those guys. It's funny. We were having a conversation about how do you color coordinate these guys earlier today in a teams meeting. What separates those guys from everybody else? It's what we're waiting to see. Is there anybody out there that Texas goes to make the Derek Cooper or Tyler Atkinson symbolized type of offer that just ends that recruitment? And I don't know. That's what I think Texas, based on what I've been told, feels incredibly confident about the plan that they're going to execute. But I don't know. It's a little bit like in Game of Thrones when Jon Snow and Ramsay are about to have their battle. And they talk for days about plans and what not to do and what to do. And then, spoiler alert, one of the Stark kids running in a straight line instead of zigzagging, which will never make sense. Zigzag, kid. The moment that freaking arrow goes up into the air, run the other way. Make it so that like science works in your favor. Just a thought. How I would react, just for the record, Chad, my big ass is bobbing and weaving.
A lot of movement.
But sometimes you plan for days.
A lot of lateral.
You talked out at what you're going to do. And then sometimes a dumbass family member runs in a straight line and gets an arrow go through his chest. And then the leader of your army just runs out there after him. And then everybody else is looking around like, the hell's happening here? He's going all by himself. Doesn't he know that's a bad idea? And then what do? The army looks at each other and goes, screw it, charge. And then you don't know, like what I don't know is if the Longhorns are the Ramseys or the Boltons, I guess, or are they the Starks? How are they going to execute their plan on game day? To be completely fair, Ramsey executed his plan better than John did. John just had an extra army he didn't know about to come to save the day. Spoiler alert.
Wow, lots of spoiler alerts. If you guys are hammering through Game of Thrones, he might have messed a lot up right there.
That's one episode. That is 10 minutes of one episode. It's been a decade. I do not feel bad.
Juan, thank you for the super chat. Catch that cleans off the super chats. Why don't you go be a good dad? I'll remind him about TCH one more time and close out. Is that going to work?
Yeah.
Go be a dad.
You're just glad that that's not one of your shows that I did that to because I'm famous.
Yo, you are famous for that. Yeah.
I'm famous for, I'm not going to say a word I'm not going to spoil Game of Thrones at all. But let me tell you, there's a girl named Arya in the show. Now,
oh, God. Yeah, you are the one. When people do the I'm not going to insult you, but your version of that is no spoilers, but. And the next thing that follows is going to spoil something.
oh, wait till. Yeah, I can't help
Every
myself.
single time. It's like, hey, no spoilers, but.
It's so bad. It's such an epidemic.
Keep your eye on the ex-wife.
When
That's all I'm saying.
comes
Oh,
up,
come on.
hey, no, this is true. For the last 2 years, I have such a bad reputation with this. Chad used to call this out on his radio show about this with me. What I've done now is I'll tell Chad in advance. This is really funny. Chad, I'm going to be really respectful. And I'm not going to say spoilers to the thing that I don't want you to have spoilers. But here's the trick. When it's over with, I go out of my way to pat myself on the back for having accomplished it. So it's like,
yes.
Hey, I didn't shit my pants today. And it's like, but then I really want everybody to know, hey, I did that.
You did that. It's good. And I like that. I much prefer that version of you. Post bragging catch is way better than ruin it for me catch on the front side.
Chad's DVR'd an A&M game, and I'm like, Chad, I promise I won't tell you anything about the A&M game. I promise. But there's going to be a field goal. FYI, be ready for the field goal.
Thanks, catch. And then afterwards, I was so good to not tell you what happened. I didn't tell you he missed it. All right. Catch.
Exactly. I'm the king of, whoa. I didn't tell you what happened on the play. So what? I said there's field goals in every game. Like I will, at that point is when I become the worst version of me, where it's like, I'm going to badger my way to defending myself.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is you. That will happen.
Look, it's not that I don't have self-awareness.
No, I appreciate whatever growth there could be in that, because I don't need any more shows.
No, I have more self-awareness than anyone. It's that too many times I look at my self-awareness and go, I'm not listening to you today.
Right. The self-awareness and the apathy. When you put those two together, that's the monster. That's where the monster comes in. Oh, I'm aware. I just don't care. And I'm plowing right through. That's the key. All right, go get your kids fed, and I'll close up shop here. That's Jeff Ketchum, everybody. Last time for the year. Because we'll have a post-game show. Yeah. Post-game show tomorrow. No 12 o'clock show, but we will have a post-game show tomorrow. So before we wrap up, let me remind you of a couple quick things when it involves watching the Texas-Michigan game and the screens you're watching on. If you're watching at home, if that's your thing, you're watching at home, ask yourself, how big is the screen? Does somebody have a bigger screen? Does somebody I care about have a bigger screen? Here's the story. My neighbor, in a weird humble brag, calls me up and says, hey, I got this hardware showing up because I got a new TV. And I swear he said 98 inches. And my brain almost melted. 98. If I ever see that television, y'all know what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to call 255-8678 and say, hey, AV Consultations, I've been outscreened by a neighbor, and I got to get after this thing. If it's a bigger screen, if it's more screens, if it's multiple screens, if it's a setup you've always wanted, AV Consultations can make that happen for you in 2026. 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. Shout out to Tom, Camilla, and the crew for being a great partner of ours here at OB Live. But of course, that presenting sponsor, it's at the top each and every day, Texas Card House. Where are we going to be watching the game? Oh, yeah, we made it official today. We're going to throw it up on this bad boy, the biggest screen in Austin. By the way, if I have not mentioned it lately, each individual screen you're looking at in that 8x4 is 55 inches. That tells you how big it is. You see, I couldn't even get the whole thing on when I took the picture. I had to back up so far. It's hard to get the whole thing in a normal shot sitting where I sit. It's incredible. Big screen. We'll have other games on those side screens. Texas and Michigan will be right in the middle. Kickoff at 2, 183 and Anderson Mill. And here are those drink specials that you love so much. I know I'm going after that $3 jellyfish. You got the cocktail, you got the drafts, you got the wing special. And if you folks have not heard us say it, the Bad Beat Bacon is incredible. My man ATX Bates waited a little bit to get it, and then he had it and realized, oh my God, y'all aren't kidding. No, we're not. It's incredible. The wings have become very, very popular. I love that salmon dish, the Cajun salmon, something magical about it. The pasta dish, that chorizo and shrimp pasta, it's incredible. The meatloaf is awesome. I've had a burger, a chicken sandwich, just everything is top notch at TCH Social Austin. Come see us, 183 and Anderson Mill, 2 o'clock kick. So post game is probably like 5:30-ish, 5:30, somewhere in there. Hopefully we can start at the 2-minute warning because Texas is whipping Michigan up and down the field. But whatever happens, we'll have it for you right here on Orange Bloods Live. So thank you guys for liking, subscribing, getting your notifications. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow. Again, no live show at 12 because the game's right there at 2. We'll see you for the post-game show tomorrow. We will have, for you recruiting heads, we will have a recruiting insider show at 10 a.m. tomorrow on Wednesday, like we normally do on Wednesdays. It'll be game day, but the latest on recruiting stuff. Jason Sukamel with the latest on, is Texas going to be in for Cam Coleman maybe if he jumps in the portal? What else is he hearing? Jason's got some great notes this week in his 3-2-1, and we'll have that for you tomorrow, brought to you by Longhorn Wealth Management Group. All right. Thank you guys for supporting us. We will talk to you tomorrow in the postgame show. This is Orange Bloods Live.